So Fate Stay Night, Unlimited Blade Works, is finally reaching closer and closer to its conclusion. If I'm correct, next week is the final episode of Fate Stay Night. Now, I want to say my final thoughts for the series for that video, but it kind of sucks how this series is just, it's almost completely done. Like, it's almost done, because it's been very fun, you know, watching this week after week. I mean, some can say they didn't enjoy it because, you know, different arguments and viewpoints, but it's sad for me to see how this series is coming to an end very soon. Now, as always, episodes of Fate Stay Night are going to be very controversial depending on your different viewpoints of the series, so I expect to see a majority of different type of viewpoints in the comments below from you fellow Chibits when I upload this video. So, to get into the basics of this episode, the episode, half of it is flashbacks, backstory, and beginning the prep and setup work for Assassin versus Saber and Gilgamesh versus Shiro. That's pretty much what the first half of the episode is, and then the second half kind of concludes a couple of plot points while sets up a couple more. So let's talk about the first half first. So right at the beginning, you have it to where everybody knows their roles. Shiro knows his role, Rin knows her role, and Saber knows her role. And you have it to where they each go into their different locations. For instance, Saber's charge in the front of the temple, and you have it to where Shiro and Rin are going behind through the rear to get to the Holy Grail where Shinji is currently at. And we come to find out, even though it was very obvious from the preview of last week's episode, if you watched the preview, you knew Assassin was still around because of the voice actor. Well, we come to find out Assassin is around and was waiting for Saber to arrive at the front of the gate. And so I'm glad that this fight, Assassin versus Saber, got concluded. I was actually very worried about that because in the first season, there was a lot of setup and potential for that fight. I was looking forward to seeing how Sasaki Kojiro was going to fight Saber and what type of fight would happen in the series. So I'm glad that Ufotable went back to actually do that fight in this episode. But before I get into the fight, dive into Sasaki Kojiro and what he stood for, what he did in this episode, let's get back to, you know, Rin and Shiro's part at the beginning of the episode. So, Shiro and Rin, they make it a pond to where the Grail is, where this lake is, and you see this pile of meat that is Shinji's core, just Shinji. And they come to find out that Gilgamesh is there, which, that's kind of part of their plan. They wanted to actually have it to where they could fight Gilgamesh, but also it wasn't that good because they wanted to get to the Grail first before getting to Gilgamesh. So yeah, I mean, plans kind of went out of line. So Rin had to go by herself into the curses to be able to save Shinji. So let's talk about this. So the curses. The curses, as we know, are pouring out of the hole that the Holy Grail made. And the hole, as we know, is hell, or another name you can call it, is the root. And with it constantly pouring out this mud, this shitty-ass cursed mud, Rin has to walk through it to be able to get to the core that is Shinji. And in this moment, I wonder if there's going to be any repercussions after this. Because as we found out a couple episodes ago from Gilgamesh, is that if you walk into this mud, like, you know, the cursed mud from the root or hell itself, you'll be cursed, and most likely you will die. This is what Gilgamesh specifically said that he wanted to accomplish. He wanted to spread this muck all around the world to where it would kill a majority of humanity off. And I like how in the first half of this episode, it kind of clarifies, once again, Gilgamesh's endgame, of what he really wants to accomplish, and dives in a little bit more into it. And I like that a lot, of how Gilgamesh says, like, the reason why he wanted to eradicate humanity was because he felt this world that he's currently in, like this, you know, future world where he no longer exists and he came back into. He discovered that this world has too many humans. Way too many damn humans. Too many people. And his endgame was kind of hinted at the end of, you know, Season 1 of Fate Stay Night. But the thing was, okay, with the episode, he says, like, there's too many humans. And he's like, in the past, when I was ruling as king, we get a nice epic flashback, by the way, and you see how Gilgamesh has his pet lion right next to him. Badass. Fucking badass. Dude, what dude has a pet lion? Yo, that just, Gilgamesh is too damn boss. It's just too damn boss. But getting back on topic. So Gilgamesh, he says, like, in his time, that everybody, even if it was a person that was a slave, they were important. They were useful to the world. They were useful for something. He says, like, every individual person when he was ruling at one time over Babylon, they were important. And he says, in this time I'm currently in, there's too many humans, there's too many people that don't have any purpose, no reason to exist. And that is Gilgamesh's argument. He says that there's so many people that not all of them are really vital to humanity. And that's what he was getting at when he said that, like, a slave had importance to the world if a slave was around. So we kind of find out why Gilgamesh wants to thin the population down, for everybody that survives will be important to the survival of humanity and also ruling the world. So I like that. I like how the first half kind of dives into that and clarifies a little bit more into Gilgamesh's in-game and what he wants to do. So getting back on topic with Rin. So Rin walks through the curses. And as we know, the curses, you know, would kill humanity. I'm still wondering, will Rin die? Will she die? Like, supposedly there's billions upon billions of curses that's flowing out. And for Rin to be walking into that, it does not sound fucking good at all. It doesn't. It does not at all. Because we saw when Rin walked into that mud, like, her face had so much pain on it. Like, you saw the pain in her face. So I wonder, after all is said and done, like, after Shinji gets out, you know, everything is done, like, you know, next week or whatever, I wonder if Rin's gonna die. I wonder about that, because as she was walking through those curses, it makes me assume something like that's gonna happen. And then another question we have to wonder right now, is Shinji still alive? Like, that's something I'm curious about right now. See, in this episode, Shinji is in the core. We saw his body for the past couple episodes. His body's been inside of that giant, massive meat. That's the Holy Grail. And we kind of find out that massive meat's kind of like the mana, taking physical form, coming out of Shinji, and, like, it can't stay in Shinji's body. Like, he's not a proper vessel. And so it's just leaking out of his body, and it's just tearing him apart and stuff. That's kind of what that giant mass actually means. But the bigger question is, since you had to where Gilgamesh said that she just should go out of her way to eliminate Shinji, it makes me think there is a possibility Shinji could be saved. See, why would Gilgamesh say that? I thought Shinji was already dead, since he had his stomach punctured by Gilgamesh and the heart of Ilya was inside of him. Doesn't that mean that Shinji's still alive? If he is, I guess the only way to save him is to rip out that heart that was inside of him. I'm guessing that's the only way to really save him. Unless the heart kind of came out of his body in the act of, you know, the massive meat just coming out of his body or whatever. I'm guessing it might have come out. But even then, if Gilgamesh says it's best to just eliminate him, I'm assuming that it would be better if the heart was destroyed. But the bigger question is, Gilgamesh actually attacked that giant meat wad. Gilgamesh actually attacked it with his noble phantasm, the Aya, whatever it's called, I forget how to pronounce it, it's EA. And he uses it, which I was shocked, by the way. I was like, holy shit, when I saw that appear. And what was scary about it is that Shiro could not even figure out the structure of how it was made. Like, he couldn't even figure out how that weapon was made when Gilgamesh spawned it from his, you know, his Gate of Babylon. And when he used it, he annihilated that mock Grell. He just fucking annihilated that Grell. And I'm like, bro. Does that mean that the Grell is technically destroyed? Is that what it actually means? Or is the Grell still inside of Shinji? Like, I don't understand the specifics of that, because if Shinji was the vessel for the Grell, and then what we find out in this episode is that vessel that was, like, not that compatible with the Grell, and it was oozing out of him, would that mean that the Grell, since it had, like, its own thoughts, since it was trying to go after Gilgamesh and take over him to become its new vessel, does that mean that that was the Holy Grail? So if that was the Holy Grail, does that mean that Gilgamesh just killed the Holy Grail? Because we do know heroic spirit weapons, like, you know, ancient weapons can destroy the Grail. Like, you know, Saber destroyed the Grail with her Excalibur in Fate Zero. And so, if we think about it, does that mean, since we know what that weapon is, like A or whatever, how strong it is, does that mean that Gilgamesh just destroyed the Holy Grail? And so, if so, if we do think about it though, if the Holy Grail is destroyed, does it close the hole? Or will the hole just stay open regardless if the Grail is destroyed? See, that's a big question too, actually. That makes me think right now. If the Grail is destroyed, does the hole close up? See, Shinji's still alive, technically, from what we found out from Gilgamesh. But if that is destroyed, is the Holy Grail... I'm fucking confused right now. I'm fucking confused shit. I'm confusing myself, so I'm just gonna move past that. I don't even know how to really react to that, because I don't know if I have enough information until next week's episode. But at the moment, though, the big question is, can Shinji be saved? That's something. Like, is he still alive? Or is he gonna fucking die? I hope he dies, because Shinji's a little prick. He's like a stain on the existence of the series. He needs to die. The only useful factor he had in the series was turning into that blob of meat. And now he's out of that blob of meat, so he needs to just go. Just go, Shinji. Just fucking go. I saw something funny last week, actually. Last week, in the comments of the Fate Stay Night review I did, I saw a Chibi with a profile picture of Shinji's face in agony, and I says, like, bro, that face. And then someone underneath it, like, the person that had the picture says, like, Shinji's face in utter pain is, like, to my delight. So, it's something like that, and I laughed my fucking ass off when I saw it. It's so fucked up. But, okay, let's get back on topic. Moving past that, the vessel was trying to capture Gilgamesh. Like, it was trying to get Gilgamesh. So, it was a sentient being. The Holy Grail took on its own essence in sentient being and was trying to go after Gilgamesh, and Gilgamesh just put that fucking thing down. It was like, fuck you, go down. And Gilgamesh only cares about the hole that's leaking out the mud. So, if you think about it, Gilgamesh doesn't really want the Holy Grail. He just wanted to use the mud that's pouring forth from it. So it makes a lot of sense if you think about it, even if he did destroy the Grail. Now, getting on to the Sasuke, Kojiro, and Saber fight, that is something I really want to talk about. That fight, I fucking enjoyed that. I really did. After reading Vagabond, like, I'm currently reading Vagabond, I am able to really enjoy Sasuke Kojiro as a character, because I just recently read the Sasuke Kojiro arc in Vagabond in Volume 5 and 6. Badass series, by the way. If you've never started that, go actually read Vagabond. But Sasuke Kojiro's arc, it got me to see some insight to his character and allows me to learn a little bit more about him when it comes to terms of the heroic spirit in Fate Stay Night. And after seeing some of the things I witnessed in Volume 6 of Vagabond and then looking at, you know, this episode of Fate Stay Night, I see a lot of similarities. And it kind of shocked me. It really does. Like, how Sasuke Kojiro was so masterly skilled at the sword, like how he used his sword, and he had like these after images and stuff. I saw stuff like that in Vagabond. It looked so damn nice. It really did. Like when he did those sword skills, it really gives you some insight to his character too. Like, I can really enjoy Sasuke as a heroic spirit, even though he didn't have as much screen time as other heroic spirits throughout the entire series of Fate Stay Night. I'm able to enjoy him, I think, is because I know more about his character, actually. Since I know about Vagabond, I read a little bit more into him, I'm able to enjoy him as a character. Especially his fight and his stance to actually continue fighting Saber. It makes a lot more sense to me. It really does. Because in the act of when Saber and him are fighting, and like Saber asks him the question, like, what are you fighting for? Like, your master's dead. Castor's fucking dead. Why do you want to be here fighting? And you really have no reason to sit here and protect the gate. Like, why the fuck you fighting? That's pretty much what Saber is asking. And then, you didn't really need to have words to understand, which is very ironic, by the way, if you've read Vagabond. He didn't really need words to express what he was thinking. It was like he was saying, like, I just live by the sword, and I fight by the sword, and I fight to risk my life on the line. And, like, he made an honor, like a pact, you know, a long time ago. He would protect that fucking gate. And he tried to, and he kept to his word, and he put his life on the line behind a sword and went all in. And that, when you see the act of Saber revealing her blade, that was kind of like she was acknowledging him as a warrior, and also she was able to, like, respect his wishes. She was putting her entire life on the line. Like, see, in the swords fights I saw in Vagabond, it makes a lot of sense of how this was done this episode. See, Saber used her holy sword Excalibur, like, showed it. And as we know, if she shows it, she'll start to disappear. And that's kind of like her way of putting her life on the line. As we saw, Sasuke Kojiro was already disappearing. Like, his hands were already going fadey. And with that act, that means he was already putting his life on the line. And then Saber doing that, it's like honoring him like she is putting her life on the line. And then they could have a true battle. So I like that. I like that so much. I like how that was done. But like I said, the only reason why I think I'm able to really appreciate that so much is because I know a little bit more about Sasuke Kojiro's character. But regardless of that, the fight's execution I really liked, especially when he disappeared, like when he sat down on the steps, and when he's like, I guess I'm not really a judge of character of women, am I? And then he's like, I guess I need to train more in all sorts of different manners, and when he looks up to the moon, and when he disappears, that's fucking great. I love that shit. Invincible under the sun, invincible under the moon. Oh shit, dude. That was good, dude. I like that. I really like that a lot. So just how that was done. Now, some might complain. I don't know what they did, visual novel players. I don't know what they've changed. Most likely they've changed something, but I personally enjoyed that. It was a really fun segment of the episode that was just epic. Not just the fighting, but just seeing Sasuke Kojiro fight. Fucking epic. Now, I wonder though, since Saber used her blade, she should start disappearing now, but she didn't really use it that long if you think about it. Like, she really didn't. She only showed it briefly, but even then, she's running low on magic. So I'm guessing she's pretty much at her time limit right now. She's probably going to disappear next episode, which I'm correct, next episode is the final episode regardless, so yeah. Okay, so let's move into the Gilgamesh versus Shiro fight. That's the last point I want to talk about before I end this review. So Shiro versus Gilgamesh. By God, I know that's going to cause a lot of controversial viewpoints of, oh shit, I sense people being very aggravated with that scene a lot. But I've already explained it a couple times throughout my reviews, but I know there's going to be complaining about it. So, as an anime only, I feel like I can understand that because after what we witnessed between Archer versus Shiro. See, as Archer and Shiro's fight let us know, Archer and Shiro, when they clashed blades, Shiro was able to learn from Archer, learn his abilities, learn his techniques. Shiro was able to do that. When he clashed blades with Archer, he was already at the point to where he could already start using unlimited blade works. That's what Shiro's trying to do. And so, it makes sense how he was able to project that many swords since he learnt Archer's abilities. It was specifically said in the anime, he was learning the abilities from Archer while he clashed swords with him, and he was getting stronger. And I've even made this quite clear in multiple reviews, but I know for a fact there's going to probably be some that have a lot of mixed views to that, because I don't know how the visual novel handles that scene, but regardless of that, as an anime only, I think I can understand that with how it was said to us that he gains abilities from Archer when he's, yeah, I don't think I need to repeat that anymore. So him using like 10 projections and like copying all of Gilgamesh's weapons when they came out of his Gate of Babylon, it makes a lot more sense. It really does. Like, it doesn't seem to be like out of nowhere. I mean, this is a man that Rin was talking about in last week's episode that needs to use unlimited blade works. He needs to use the Noble Phantasm, the Reality Marble of Archer to fight Gilgamesh. So that's the point. If he can use something like that, it makes a lot more sense. He should be able to do projections like that, or at the very least, analyze all the fucking individual swords that's coming out to strike at Gilgamesh. So, the things that happened this episode, it makes sense to me, but I know there's, like I said, there's going to be a lot of issues with that specific scene of the episode. I know it so much. There's going to be, probably this, a shonen power-up, like, what the fuck, where'd this come from? Or there's going to be another, like, how's he able to do that? Like, you know, just, you know, out of nowhere. But, like I said, I already clarified that, so I'm going to just drop that topic right now. Let's talk about specifically why Shiro was able to even put up a fight in this episode, obviously. Shiro, the reason why he was able to put up a fight was because Gilgamesh specifically said in this episode that he's not going all out. He doesn't even respect Shiro enough to go even all out. He's like, fuck you, Shiro. You're like, if I was a king and I was fighting you with all my might, that would mean I'm already defeated. Like, his pride would be defeated. That's pretty much what Gilgamesh was letting us know. His pride would be defeated if he went all out on Shiro, because he thinks he's like nothing. That's pretty much what he is. Like, if I used all my noble phantasms in my Gate of Babylon just to shoot you fucking down and kill you, you get my point. So that's why Shiro was able to survive. And it makes a lot of sense, though, if you think about it. So I think that's probably going to be the downfall of Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh is not taking his opponent seriously at all. And that's probably going to lead Gilgamesh to his demise, probably. It's because he's not really trying to kill Shiro 100%. Like, if he would have went all out like he did with Berserker, like, look what he did with Berserker. If he was to do the exact same shit to Shiro, Shiro would be done. Said and done. It's fucking done. So that goes to show you how different this fight is compared to it. Like, he doesn't even look at Shiro with any ounce of respect. He's just calling him a faker, and he's like, fuck you. That's it. So, yeah, episode, animation, quality, I like it. Animation, I've pretty much given up talking about animation because, like, shit, it's always fucking good. And standards of normal production quality we get in anime nowadays, oh, it's fucking way better. And BDs will look even more gorgeous time they come out. So that's about it. I don't wonder how long this video is. I'm willing to bet it's over like 10 minutes. I don't even know how fucking long this is. But you all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. I want to go watch Plastic Memories. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Please be safe. Chibi out.